Hey there, everybody. This is CK Moniki, co-founder Virtual Assistant Africa and the CEO CK Group. Now, today I am really excited to have an interesting conversation. We take a bit of a different angle from what we've been doing before. We know it's been a while since we did this as far as the virtual conversation is concerned. But now I can promise you this is going to be hot and you guys are going to learn a lot. And the conversation basically is around a documentary or docudrama, as they call it, the social media dilemma. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to watch this particular documentary. Some of us watched it and our lives changed within that very week that we watched the documentary. Now, also with us today is a guest that I will tell you how we met. So I am checking out my social media feed. He's my friend on Facebook. And then I see a post about the social media dilemma. And that topic was still hot in my mind because I just watched the documentary. Is it last week? Yes, last week. And I say, wow. So I click on that link. I go to his blog. I read a bit about what he has posted. And I found that very interesting. And I said, how about we bring this conversation to this context? And for him, and him being a digital marketer, he'll be able to, I'm sure he's going to bring in very, very critical insights, because this documentary, basically, just to explain what it is all about, it tends to talk about the negative impacts of social media in the society or social networking. But then the big question that comes up, especially for us digital marketers and social media managers, is in the work of this documentary, what changes, considering that social media is basically our office, is the place that we go to work. Now, do you tell me to discard a tool that actually puts food on my table? You see, now you are at a place where you're wondering, okay, what is what? And Nathaniel will be telling us more about it. I think for him, I read in your blog that you have installed the social media apps. I don't know how you're able to serve your clients without these applications on your phone. We'll get to hear it from you. So guys, welcome very much. And for those who are watching this for the very first time, Virtual Assistant Africa is an online community where we bring in people, virtual assistants, both veterans and newbies or guys who are interested in getting into the space of online working. And what we do is that we're able to equip you and empower you with skills that you may be able to work effectively in the online space. Now, Nathaniel, I know I've not done justice in terms of introducing yourself, introducing you rather, and I want you to take this opportunity to introduce yourself to the community and to the netizens. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Moniki. I'm really honored to be here today and to share a few insights in the space that I function in.
Yeah.
My name is Nathaniel Dega. I am a digital marketer. I have been in the digital marketing space for about 10 years now. And I specialize in lead generation and search engine optimization. And I've handled clientele in different areas and in different angles of digital marketing, from reputation management to, e-commerce websites, to practically anything, selling property, selling services, selling apps,
right?
The whole shebang. So, and maybe today I'm here to just open the eyes of people in the space that most of us are functioning in. And yeah, I'm glad to be here, and feel free to ask me the questions you have.
Fantastic. 10 years experience is a long time, man.
Yeah.
You are a veteran.
Oh, maybe I should also mention a bit about my academic background. So,
yes, go ahead.
Don't feel maybe. So I have a master's degree, an MSc in data communications from KCA University. I did that back in 2013.
Yes.
My foundation before that was a bachelor's degree in telecommunication and IT from Kenyatta University. And over the years, I've done quite a number of certifications A couple of them from Google in Google Analytics and Google AdWords. I've done social media marketing with a platform called SEMrush.
Mm-hmm.
I have a certification by an entity that used to go by the name, the e-commerce council, it's called CIMP, Certified Internet Marketing Practitioner.
Yeah.
Among other certifications. So that's my bag of tricks, if we may say.
Wow. So people here should be very confident that we are engaging an expert, and of course we await to learn so much from you this morning. So Nathaniel, what was your key takeaway after watching that documentary? In fact, how did it make you feel?
I was glad that someone took their time to, put out there the other side of the coin. Mostly when you're sold something, you're never told 100% of the story. You're always told what you are looking to get or what you're looking to enjoy.
Yes.
And most of us, even when you get a new phone or you hear about a new app, or there's TikTok or there's Snapchat or whatever new thing comes along,
Yeah.
and you go to the Play Store and you download it, there's usually something called terms and conditions. And most of us, we just skip to the end, click accept, and jump into the fun part. But there's usually one, it's a psychological trick because no one wants to read fine print. It's a lot of work. Sometimes you don't understand what's in there. And of course, you want this thing, so you'll still sign up. So
of course.
What's the big deal? Everyone is using it, yeah, right?
Yes.
But if you read the fine print, for example, about a few months ago, I had taken time off watching TV for like a year and a half. So a few months back, I got a digital TV.
Did you say a year and a half?
Yeah.
Off TV?
I didn't have TV in my house for about a year and a half. So I got a digital TV about a month and a half ago. But I didn't accept everything in the terms and conditions because I know a digital TV can literally eavesdrop what you're doing in your house. And there's been lawsuits, if you go online, you'll find them.
Yeah.
That some entities were able to, harvest data and use it. But they had put it in their terms and conditions, but people didn't really take time to read and understand what they're signing up for.
Wow.
So for me, it's just to see. It's a good thing that Netflix did that documentary, although again, there was a bit of criticism and backlash online that, Netflix is also in that space. So Netflix is not as innocent. If you're on Netflix, if you're on Netflix, they'll always suggest the next thing for you to watch. They'll always say you might like this or similar, because they're also watching everything you're watching, and they're learning what you like.
Yeah.
So they'll always recommend the next one and the next one.
Yeah.
So for me, my key takeaway is that at least someone has done something that is in the public domain that sort of is helping people understand what's going on behind the scenes. And what is going behind the scenes is that all these big tech companies are here to make money. They'll give you a free service, but you are the product.
Right.
If you don't see the product, there's actually a famous saying that says, if you can't see the product, then you are the product.
Yeah.
You are the product. So they'll give you a free service. Most of us are on Gmail. Most of us use Android phones, so Google has access to all your data. For you to use that device, Google has to read all your messages, it has to read all your whatever, call records, everything, geolocation and whatnot. So literally, it's like we use these services, and most people are unaware of what they are giving up to be able to enjoy that service. But beyond that is the reality that these services are designed to be addictive. and your brain responds the same way to a drug. The way your brain responds to a drug is the same way your brain reacts to social media. You know, when you watch something you like, your brain gets a shot of dopamine when someone likes your photo, for example, or they like what you've posted. That excitement that you feel in your mind is the same way your body reacts when you get a shot of a drug or something.
Yeah.
And there's actually a book out there called Hooked. Maybe people should be able to read that. But it basically points out the psychology behind the design of social media.
Yes.
That we give you small rewards for taking specific actions, and then once you take those actions, we keep giving you more. It's basically like like gambling. That's why gambling is addictive. You never really know if you're gonna win or not.
Yeah.
And you cannot go too long without winning. So that urge of trying to get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing is very addictive. And there's actually one of the guys in the documentary, I won't mention his name so that you go watch it.
Yeah.
He says most people are always on the lookout for the time when technology will surpass the human capacity, the capacity of the human brain to process data and whatnot. But we missed a very critical juncture where technology overcame our weaknesses. And that's a very, very critical point, simply because now a supercomputer can exploit our psychological weaknesses.
Right.
Take the example of any social media app, If you're there and we can keep you there for as long as possible, then you will tell us everything about yourself. It's very simple. It's like you're taking yourself into a lab where you're getting tested a million times in a million different ways until they find a way to crack you. So they'll know, oh, this guy likes football. So every time you get on your social media feed, you will find football. And in there, they'll sell you something.
Let me ask you, Nathaniel. Sorry to cut you short.
Go on.
Is it? I find it that after watching the documentary, of course, there are so many. There are many things I learned. In fact, there are some measures I took personally. And one of the things I did was to actually disable notifications from my phone. And for the last couple of days, I have reduced the frequency of checking my phone every time, because notifications could keep me attached to my phone. When you hear that buzz sound, of course, I'll pick up my phone to check who has WhatsApped. Is it a notification from Twitter? Do I have a DM and all those kind of things? So after disabling, my phone has been unusually quiet, obviously. But then, did you find, I don't know your thoughts, has the documentary focused so much on the negative side of social media? Yet you and I, who are in this space of social media marketing and digital marketing, we know how useful these tools can be. We know that this is actually what put food on our tables. I mean, just to be straight up, we know the usefulness of these platforms. They have done positive. They have delivered positively in other, contexts. What is your thought? Was it so much about bashing the platforms and how they are bad and how we need to avoid using them?
I think I think it's a matter of perspective. When you tell a narrative that is abrasive or a narrative that is sort of opposite of what everyone is saying, you're bound to get more attention.
Right.
But the idea here is that not too many people are talking about the negative effect or the negative impact of social media on individuals. And truth be told, anything that has power can be used negatively, can be used for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I think for this case, the documentary focused on what most people don't know. People like me who are in this space uh, like daily, to generate revenue for companies from individuals using those platforms. We know. For example, if I set up an ad on Facebook, I am very specific on the people I'm targeting.
Yeah.
And it's simply because Facebook has data on everyone who's using the platform. So I'll tell Facebook, give me someone who loves, I don't know, whichever product I'm selling. If I'm selling a house, maybe I'll just ask Facebook for someone who likes that specific kind of house, that kind of neighborhood, someone who can afford that kind of budget. And
Yeah.
Facebook knows that because people have spent enough time on Facebook for Facebook to be able to determine
Yeah.
how
It has
much
gathered
this
the
person
demographic data.
is earning, where they like hanging out, who are their friends, where they work. You know, for example, you might go on Facebook and it will ask you, oh, where do you work? What is your position? Oh, you put that on LinkedIn. And it's very easy to determine your net income from
Yeah.
such a. Or you go to KFC, take a bite of a chicken, take a photo. Next weekend, you're in a club, you take a photo, you actually put a pin of the location. And we know how much someone would spend going to such a place for a night. So it is very good that at least people can take a peek behind the curtain and know what they're doing, what is happening behind the scenes. Because behind that screen is a supercomputer. It's not another person with empathy or the same processing capability as you. It's a computer that has been given a specific algorithm to ensure, one, that you spend the most time on that platform, two, that you give up as much personal information as possible, and three, that you're sold something you like. So it is not a game that if you are unaware, it's a losing game. You cannot win against it.
But then social media has been here for such a long time. I mean, why now? Why is the conversation so important right now? Why is it hot right now? Facebook has been there since 2014. Why is it important right now to have this conversation?
It's very important to have this conversation right now because people have figured out how to, I don't want to say misuse, but to use these platforms for the negative effect. Maybe this could be a place that I could recommend another documentary called The Hack.
The Great Hack.
The Great Hack.
Yeah.
And in that documentary, you'll be able to see how big entities like Cambridge Analytica, which went under, but people need those kind of services. They could be able to manipulate elections. They could be able to, do things that ordinarily could not be done. It's propaganda on steroids, if I may use that.
Yeah.
And like in Myanmar, there was a genocide. And it was, and the messages were sent over WhatsApp. WhatsApp is owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
So the scale that these platforms can be used for the wrong thing is becoming more and more alarming. The last US elections, the allegations that Russia made use of social media negatively and sort of influenced the outcome of the election. And those are facts. It's not propaganda. It's something that actually happened. So if you're unaware, come again.
The docu who says that when they were creating these platforms, they intended them to be a force for good. Do you think that has completely changed?
I won't say it has completely changed, but I would say that whoever pays the piper calls the tune. There's one major thing that happened with these platforms, which is called monetization.
Right.
Someone figured out how to get money from something that is free. So if you're if your agenda is to make money, then you can sell anything. You can you can literally sell people.
Yeah.
And actually, the economy they're trading in is human attention. Human attention is your consciousness, is literally your spirit, your
Yeah.
whatever, the essence of your being. And
Yeah.
that's what is being sold and bought. If, for example, I go to Facebook and pay for an ad, I'm paying for the attention of people. I'm paying for people to get a fraction of the time that people are spending on Facebook, for example.
Right.
And that is very detrimental to, in places like the US where studies have been done. Of course, this is happening worldwide, but at least there it has been documented. It's been documented that social media increases stress. It's leading to higher rates of suicide, and young children wanting to get plastic surgery and hating how they look. It's something that is spiraling out of control.
Yeah. But then someone would argue, Nathaniel, that you have the choice.
Mm-hmm.
The choice is in your hands. I mean, just like I would choose to gamble or not to gamble. So there's no gun pointed on my head telling me, dude, you need to log in into Facebook right now and Twitter. It's a choice.
Oh, my friend, I don't think an addict has a choice of whether to take another shot or not. The problem is that we are unaware. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from this interview and from this documentary. For example, if we talk about your specific case,
Yeah.
you didn't know that the notifications are making you, go to your phone so many times. Specifically, even for myself, the only social media platform I have on my phone is WhatsApp. And it's specifically because, one, it has a business connotation to it, and a few other groups that I cannot do without.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. But my notifications are off. I only go there when I have decided to go there.
Yeah.
The problem with digital media is that most people who have mobile devices, and that's a lot of people, are unaware that these apps are seducing you to come back, and your brain cannot resist it. I don't know how many times you've been in a meeting and somebody's phone buzzes and they stop what they were saying and check their phone. It's like magic, as in it's
For your
like,
attention. You must check.
see, so that's the problem. The problem is that we are unaware. Most people don't know that they cannot do without their phones. And especially, I think there's also a case of that has been documented that most people are very stressed when their phones are going out of charge. And maybe they're in a place that they don't have a way to charge it.
Yeah.
And the reason that is so is because you feel you'll miss out. Your fix, your drug is going away.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure it's charged up.
Wow.
So the problem is just simply, it's an addiction that most people are unaware of.
Let me use you as a case study. Now, since you uninstalled all your applications and you only have WhatsApp, like you've said, how did that change how you live, you interact? What are the positive impacts after taking that kind of step?
I'll be honest, first, before I did that, I used an app that tracks the time you spend. It's called Screen Time. It's a free app on Google Play Store or on iOS. And I was shocked at the amount of time I was spending on social media. Yes?
You said Screen Time. It's the name of the app, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
the free app. So I was shocked. I think I was spending like 4 hours on Instagram, I think, or on Twitter. And if you count that in a day, that's a significant amount of time. 4 hours out of a 12-hour day, or if you say an 8-hour working day, that's almost half your day on your device.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if for me, some of that time is for work, I have to put limits. So with that app, maybe you can limit the time it can log you out when that time is up. But sometimes you can't really help it. It's just a good feeling. You don't want to interrupt that good feeling. So the goal, like for me, I had to consciously decide if I get home, I'll put my phone away. So if I get home at 6,
Yeah.
I put my phone away. We interact with my children. We play. We do whatever. We eat together. I'll just check it for a few minutes before I go to bed. And I additionally put something on my device that when it gets to 10 p.m., um, it goes to an no interrupt mode.
Yeah.
So I don't, switches off the backlight. I cannot use it at night until the next morning. So it has to be a very conscious, the same way if someone is addicted to alcohol, you have to be very conscious of what you're drinking at any time.
Yeah.
So if you know your device, now that we know those apps are meant to addict us, and the way, because I need those apps for work, things like
I
Twitter
was
and
coming
Facebook,
there.
I log into them on my laptop,
Okay.
and I do that for a specific set of time, and to do a very specific thing. So I don't just log in to go see, what's happening, what's trending. No, I just go in there to do the specific thing I'm supposed to do, and I get out.
Mm.
Mm.
And about your kids, you mentioned you have kids. Do they use these devices?
That's a very good question. So things like cartoon, they only watch that on TV and for a specific period of time, but they don't take my phone and go on YouTube and whatever. No, they don't use they don't either use my device or my wife's device. If they want to watch TV, we decide what cartoons they're watching and for what specific period of time. After that, they go out to play. Period.
How do they survive 1.5 years without a TV? I'm really curious.
They're not too old.
Because they can't touch your phone or your
But
wife's
my
phone,
son
and
is
then
about.
there's no TV.
If they wanted to watch something, they would watch it on a laptop. But the youngest one is about 2 years, so she's not too old. She's just
Okay.
starting to understand what cartoons are. The older guy, he learned how to play outside, so
And he likes it
TV,
that way.
yeah, he enjoys it that way.
Now, do you think that I know after this conversation, people will head over to Netflix to watch the documentary. Do you think that this documentary is now the game changer, is going to create this massive shift where people are now, there will be millions, if not billions of people and installing these apps and, deleting their accounts? What do you see as the effect after people watch this documentary?
To be honest, I would be a bit skeptical on that. Most people know what is good for them, and they don't necessarily take the necessary action to
Right.
avert it. If you're already addicted, even if I tell you alcohol is harmful to your health, if you're addicted to alcohol, you'll still go out there and take some of it, take more of it. So that's the problem with addiction. And maybe that's why these companies are getting richer and richer and richer and richer, because they figured out how to legally addict people and get paid for it. They're selling a drug, really, if we may use that.
Yeah.
They're selling you a drug you cannot resist. And if you don't have enough willpower to get out of the matrix, the only thing I'm happy is that this documentary will help them realize what's going on. But the decision to exit those platforms or to minimize use, I'm not too sure too many people will take that action.
Wow. So what would be your advice to the people who are already addicted? They are deep, and that is many of us. I can tell you that. How would you
So
advise? Yeah.
first thing is to actually prove that you are. You know, they say the first indication of being addicted is denial. So if you meet someone and you tell them, I think you're addicted to Instagram, or I think you're addicted to Twitter,
Yeah.
they will deny, no, no. But most people cannot stay 5 minutes without,
Taking
turning
the
on their
phone.
phone and checking what's going on.
Yeah.
So the first step would be just, get to know exactly how much time you're spending on social media. So easy step is to install that screen time app and let it analyze for you how much time you spend on social media. So you
Mm.
might be, most people are shocked. I was shocked. And then when you realize you're spending half your day, and if we extrapolate that, it means half your life on this app. And
It's
sometimes you're not
crazy.
even getting paid for it, then it might make you realize that it might be a good idea to, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
step out of it.
Wow. So and myself, I'm also glad that this has been the documentary is actually a conversation starter. That this is something that people are not talking about. Even the addicts. I mean, it's about denial out here. I am not addicted. I just like posting a photo, and that's pretty much it. But I mean, when those guys were saying that each feature that they were building into these apps, the intention is actually to keep you hooked, that you have to come again and again and again. Something as simple as when you're scrolling down your news, your feed on social media, and then there's like a pop-up at the top of your page that says new posts or new tweets. Something as simple as that, man. Yeah, because now it pushes you. You feel something inside of you that I need to see. Okay, what is it all about? These new tweets and posts that are coming up. So you again scroll down, and more keep coming up, and more keep coming up. So you're innocently just checking. Like for me, for instance, if someone has commented on my client's post, or if there's an inquiry, someone wants to pay, and before I know it, I am 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes into the device, because I'm just reading and checking out these photos. So some of those revelations, man, as very tiny, subtle things inbuilt into the system, that they end up actually keeping you hooked, and you never know. So I am glad that this is a conversation starter. It has revealed a lot about these platforms. I am sure there are people who have different views out there. Others are saying, and like when email came, I think that was in 1994, 1993. And of course, we
Mhm.
had many people who said, this is a passing cloud. Email, this is not possible. We're used to sending physical letters to people. And people fought it. And some have argued that this is exactly what is happening now, that social media has been so much integrated into our lifestyle. So trying to fight it is actually fighting a losing battle. I don't know your views on that.
Literally, I think that's a true view because, the guys with the money are the guys behind the platform. So, and fighting gigantic tech giants
Yeah.
is not something you would expect to win. You can't, for example, you can't tell Facebook to start monetizing that data. Literally, they got it legally. We gave it up to them for using the platform. So you can't tell them to stop monetizing it. You can't tell Google to stop monetizing user data. So really, the only way to overcome that is by individuals restricting their use and just using it when it's really necessary. You don't have to, for example, you don't have to post your photos online. You don't have to keep checking what people are posting every day. You can live without that, literally. We used to have a life before social media, so literally you can live without being on social media. I think that's a message because it's addictive, and the addictions have destructive results.
Yeah. So is it easy for us, and us, I mean, you know, the older generation, eh? I know you're not very old. Is it easy for us to say that, you know, we had a life before social media? And then you have this particular generation, the generation Z, and partly the millennium generation, who, by the way, they don't know any other life outside social media. Like for them, virtual is the reality. Like online is their real world. They have friends online, they have relationships online, they do everything online. For us, at least, we had that experience of going outside and playing and making real friends. But for them, the idea of a friend is that guy on social media. Are we asking too much from them?
I think that's a very valid question, and maybe we need to find alternatives to how, you know, social media has become ingrained into society. I have a career in that space, so I know it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah.
But as people like me who are parents, people who have responsibility over young people, it's up to us to show them a different reality, to show them that you can actually have fun with your phone off, you know. You can turn off the phone and go camping for a few days and the world will not end, you know.
Yeah. Now, as much as this conversation is interesting, I think we'll bring it to a close. I feel that there's so much that we still need to discuss about this topic, and maybe we can still have this conversation in future. So, my community virtual assistant Africa and everybody who will get to watch this video, you have heard it from Nathaniel. I mean, 1.5 years without a TV, no social media application on his phone apart from WhatsApp, and he's alive because he's here talking to us. He didn't die because of, you know, uninstalling those apps. I believe it is possible. It calls, I think, for a higher level of discipline and commitment. So yes, it can be done. I believe that you have learned something from this video, and you know, learning is one thing, but in this particular case, I think action is what is required. What are you going to do after this? And after you watch that documentary, what step are you going to take? He has proposed to install an application called Screen Time, you said?
Yes.
Yes, try it out. Try it out. You will discover that you're even doing 6, 7 hours on social media. And now that kills your productivity completely during the day. So that's all we had for today. Nathaniel, thank you so much for coming through. How can people find you?
You can find me on my website, www.nathanielndegwa.com. Of course, I'm on social media, so you can find me on Twitter at Nate Ndegwa and on Facebook as Nathaniel Ndegwa. But don't spend too much time there. It's not good for you.
Thank you so much. Good people, that's all we had for today. Look out for the next conversation on the virtual conversation by Virtual Assistant Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.